Talent.
Okay. Let's call the meeting to order for Tuesday, June 27th, 2023, and let's have a roll call.
Silva. Here. Bradley. Here. Stacy.
Here.
Noble. Here. Lindemann.
Here.
Jenny. Here. Curran.
Here.
Lenny there. We have a quorum.
Everybody rise. And we have followed by an invocation from Pastor Stacy Wilson, GC First Assembly.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I pray, let's take a moment of silence for Cheryl Mazzarelli. Lord, I am grateful to be able to be a part of this community, and it's a privilege and an honor to be asked to pray before these meetings. So God, I just ask that your hand would be on our board, on our entire school district, that you would lead, guide, and direct all the decisions for the best of our students and the families of our community, and that you would bless those who have willingly served in this capacity. Just be the center of the meeting this evening. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Also, our church, GC First, we are on Madison Avenue across from the post office. And on July 30th, we're going to do a picnic, and we want to bless teachers who live in or teach in Granite City. And so if you'd like to be part of that, we've got little gifts and things we'd like to give. Your families are invited. So check out our Facebook for the event information.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that.
July 30th.
Okay. And now we move on to public comment. Is there anyone here?
Yes, please.
I'm gonna be nice to him since it's his last. Oh, man.
Just real quick,
We'd like to recognize that this is Granite City High School Principal Darren Dupuy.
For 3 more full days.
yes it is. So, good evening. Superintendent Cam, members of the board. I wanted to take a moment to share my sincere gratitude to the community of Granite City and our school district. It has been my privilege to serve in a variety of roles as a teacher, a coach, an athletic director, and principal. This career in education has been an extremely rewarding one. It has provided me the opportunity to assist so many students in reaching their goal of a high school diploma. Granite City has been very good to my family and I for many years. It has provided us with a community we could always rely on. On behalf of my family, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Granite City. The past 33 years has brought a variety of ups and downs, along with some tremendous challenges. It has been my approach to look at every situation and attempt to find the best solutions for our students and staff. And in most cases, I feel like we have done so. I wish the school district and the community all the best going forward. My wife and I will continue to live here for the foreseeable future, and I'm encouraged by what I see happening in our town. And I'm looking forward to what the future will bring. I can't thank you all enough for the opportunity to work here for 33 years. So thank you.
Thank you for taking it easy on me in PE, because I probably wouldn't have made it to where I am today had I not done it.
I think we're ready for gifts or
Yeah.
conditions. Okay, here we
yeah.
go. Here we go. Sorry, I kind of teary-eyed as well. follow that.
Okay, I'd like to call up high school track coach, Coach Bird. He could come up. Yay! I'm gonna have you help me out, okay? So, the GCSD9 Board of Education Administration would like to recognize Peyton Hatfield, our 22-23 GCHS Scholar Athlete of the Year.
Stephanie, he's
No, I'm track.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. He got me all. I apologize, public. I saw, okay, we're gonna go back, and we're gonna start over. And now we're going to recognize our 22-23 Granite City High School girls track and field student athlete, I'm sorry, who qualified for the IHSA 3A state championship. So do you want to introduce them or no?
Yes, so
Go ahead and
let's
talk
bring
about.
up, well, unfortunately, Lucy Klump is not here. She had soccer today. But she did qualify for state. Let's give her a hand. Now I would like to bring up our shot put and discus thrower, Miss Emily Sykes.
So do you want to say something about her
Yes,
performances?
I mean, great performer. She has qualified for state for the last, 2 years now? Yes. And she's been moving up every year. Next year, we're expecting the championship out of her.
Can we get in the middle? Can we get in the middle? There we go.
Sorry, I missed you. Never mind. That's all. Thank you. Thank you so much. I apologize for my mistakes. You got me all emotional. Okay, so now, we're gonna do this again. So now we would like to recognize Peyton Hatfield, our 22-23, if you wanna come up, Principal Pugh,
Yes.
Scholar Athlete of the Year, who was recognized at Busch Stadium on May 16th as part of our 57th annual St. Louis Post-Dispatch Scholar Athlete Team. Come on up, Peyton. I know that you were the one heading to Lillian University in the fall to play soccer, women's soccer. If you wanna give us, do you wanna say a few words about Peyton too?
Peyton was also our student body president, and was a great representation of the students that we are able to educate here in Granite City. So we're all very, very proud of Peyton.
Very much so.
You too.
Okay, let's move on to approval of the minutes. Is that where we're at? Yep.
Yep, that's where we are.
Everyone went silent on me.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Let's see, now we're on the consent agenda. First, the treasurer's report. Is there anything anybody would like to pull out, or just want to have a motion to, I guess, approve? Do you want to talk about gifts?
I'm gonna talk about gifts really quickly. We are so fortunate, as I've often said in this community, how many people really think to give to our community, and give back to kids, and it's just amazing. Dr. Turtan, I don't know if he's been in the community forever, an amazing man. He donated items to the Granite City High School girls tennis team, the value of, close to $2,000. He gave tennis rackets, skirts, carry-all packs, tennis shoes. I mean, that just means so much that he thought enough about these girls to give those and to help the team out that way. And he's always very generous with us too, so I just want to recognize him. Also, First Student, our bus company, worked with the Earth Day organization. They also planted trees across the globe, but they planted a tree on behalf of the Granite City School District as well too, so I just want to talk about that as well, so. That's it, now you can approve.
Yeah, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Stacy?
Aye.
Noel? Aye. Lindeman?
Why?
Benny? Aye. Curran?
Aye.
Silva? Bradley? Aye.
gonna blame Darren to you on
Sorry, all the way around.
You are more than welcome to stay, but if you would like
If
to
you would
go.
like to, yes. Just give me
I
a
can-
minute. Who wants to be the first one?
Thank you, have a great night.
Thanks, Coach Bird.
Now, everyone in the back needs to take a seat.
To the front.
Good job, Jill, good job.
I didn't have a choice.
It shows a lot, right? It's good.
Okay, so we got approval on all that. I guess if we can move on to 8A, retirements and resignation.
It is recommended that the following retirements and resignations be accepted. Andrea Heilman, fifth grade teacher at Grigsby, resignation end of 22-23. Brady Chapman, speech language at Coolidge, retirement end of 28-29. Sally Baugh, monitor, GCHS, retirement end of 27-28. Connie Patterson, monitor GCHS, retirement end of 27-28. And Penny Wilson, custodian GCHS, retirement 6/30/28. Tough people to fill.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
Second. Roll call?
Noble? Aye. Linneman?
Aye.
Jenny, aye. Curran?
Aye.
Silva?
Aye.
Bradley? Aye. Stacy?
Aye.
Did I get everybody?
Thank you.
There was an awkward silence.
Yeah, that was
I
an
like,
effort.
get it together.
8B, extracurricular resignations for the 23-24 school year.
Below you have received detailed information about this. The administration is prepared to make recommendations or to hold for discussion in executive session. GCSD9 administration is recommending the following extracurricular resignations for the 23-24 school year be approved. Mark Jones, assistant girls volleyball coach, Gracie High School.
Second.
Roll call?
Linneman?
Aye.
Jenny, aye. Curran?
Aye.
Silva?
Aye.
Bradley? Aye. Stacy?
Aye.
Noble?
Aye.
Mr. Schooley, do I need to read all of these next ones? Under extracurricular?
No, you do not.
Yeah. Yes or no? He said no?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay. Just make it, I can, there won't be, I mean, I can go through them. Yes?
You can recommend the list under separate cover.
Okay, I was just trying to think, you know, okay, go ahead.
8C, extracurricular recommendations for the 23-24 school year.
Okay, so below detailed information under cover about this item, the administration is prepared to make recommendations or to hold for discussion in executive session. We're recommending the following extracurricular recommendations for the 23-24 school year approved.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Just so everybody knows, it's all like the extracurriculars
Yes,
for Granite City
band,
High School, all the club sponsors.
everything.
Yeah.
All the sponsors.
Lots of pages.
Department heads as well.
Yeah, department
Yes.
heads.
Mm-hmm.
No surprises there.
So roll call?
Hold on a second, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
yeah.
Who made the motion?
Me.
No, and then who was second? Gotcha, alright. Vinnie, aye. Curran?
Aye.
Silva?
Aye.
Bradley? Aye. Stacy?
Aye.
Knoble?
Aye.
Linneman?
Aye. Okay, 8D1, rescind the employment of ESL bilingual teacher for the 23-24 school year.
Below you have detailed information about this item. Administration is prepared to make recommendations or hold for discussion. GCSD9 administration is recommending that the BOE rescind the employment of Caitlin Knoll due to the declining of her offer for the 23-24 ESL bilingual teacher position. Approval is recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any question?
Yes.
Do we know why she declined?
Geography.
That's right, she wanted something else.
Yes, she wanted somewhere closer to where she was going to reside,
Right.
so simply geography.
Okay, all right.
Roll call?
Curran?
Aye.
Silva?
Aye.
Bradley? Aye. Stacy?
Aye.
Knoble?
Aye.
Linneman?
Aye.
Vinnie? Aye.
8D2, ratification of employment of Prather Kindergarten Pre-K school nurse for the 23-24 school year.
Below there is detailed information about this item. We are prepared to make recommendations or hold a discussion in executive session. GCSD9 administration and the interview committee consisting of Dr. David Keel, Mr. Steve Mathis, Ms. Jeannie Burke are recommending the ratification of employment of Kelly Christian as school nurse at Prather Kindergarten Pre-K School for the 23-24 school year. Approval is recommended pending the submission of required paperwork.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
I'll be abstaining because she was my employee, but I can say she's amazing, and then she was making an excellent hire, to my detriment. She's great though.
there.
Roll call?
She lives.
Silva,
Aye.
Bradley,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Noble,
Aye.
Linneman,
Aye.
Vinnie abstain, Curtin.
Aye. Okay, 8D3, employment of Grigsby Intermediate School fifth grade teacher for the 23-24 school year.
Below, you've received detailed information about this item. Administration is prepared to make recommendations or to hold an executive session. The GCSD9 Administration Interview Committee, consisting of Ms. Kristen Caverna, Mr. Steve Mathis, and Ms. Marcy Sedavos, are recommending the employment of Tiffany Wrench as the fifth grade teacher at Grigsby Intermediate School for the 23-24 school year. Approval is recommended pending the submission of required paperwork.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Bradley.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Noble,
Aye.
Linneman,
Aye.
Vinnie, Curran,
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Okay. 8D4, employment of Coolidge Junior High School special education teacher for the 23-24 school year.
Below, detailed information about this item is given. Administration is prepared to make recommendations or hold for discussion in executive session. GCSD9 Administration and the Interview Committee, consisting of Ms. Mickey Watkins, Mr. Patrick Curry, Mr. Tony Dodd, and Ms. Kelly Wallace, are recommending the employment of Richard Ramsey as a special education teacher at Coolidge Junior High School for the 23-24 school year. Approval is recommended pending the submission of required paperwork.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Stacy,
Aye.
Noble,
Aye.
Linneman,
Aye.
Vinnie, Curran,
Aye.
Silva,
Aye.
Bradley.
Aye.
Okay. 8D5, employment of ESSC Lake School seventh and eighth grade teacher for the 23-24 school year.
Below is detailed information about this item. The administration is prepared to make recommendations or hold for discussion in executive session. The GCSD9 Administration Interview Committee, consisting of Dr. David Keel, Don Harris, Ms. Natalie Roy, are recommending the employment of Dr. Schnicke as a seventh, eighth grade teacher at ESSC Lake School for the 23-24 school year. Approval is recommended pending the submission of required paperwork.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is this like the Schnuckies that graduated not long, like,
This one, I think she's related, but she's lives out of state right now, and she's leaving.
I was just curious if they were like.
Ms. Hawkins, is that correct?
I don't know this
Oh, I
one.
think she's related.
Okay. I just like when our kids go
I'm
home
hoping
and
she
come back.
lives here.
I know, right?
It's a long trip.
Yeah, imagine she'll be.
Maybe taking a jet here.
All right,
Roll call?
Noble,
Aye.
Linneman,
Aye.
Vinnie, Curran,
Aye.
Silva,
Aye.
Bradley,
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
8D6, employment of Wilson Education Center first grade teacher for the 23-24 school year.
Below is detailed information about this item. Administration is prepared to make recommendations or hold an executive session. The GCSD9 Administration and Interview Committee, consisting of Dr. David Keel, Ms. Kristen Caverna, and Mr. Jason Baker, are recommending the employment of Ms. Ashley Mertz as first grade teacher at Wilson Elementary Center for the 23-24 school year. Approval is recommended pending the submission of required paperwork.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Linneman,
Aye.
Vinnie, Curran,
Aye.
Silva,
Aye.
Bradley,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Noble.
Aye.
8D7, employment of life skills teacher for the 23-24 school year.
Below is detailed information about this item. Administration is prepared to make recommendations or hold for executive session. GCSD9 Administration and Interview Committee, consisting of Ms. Mickey Watkins, Mr. Steve Mathis, and Ms. Kristen Caverna, are recommending the employment of Ms. Sarah Backus as a life skills teacher for the 23-24 school year. Approval is recommended pending the submission of required paperwork.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Vinnie, Curran,
Aye.
Silva,
Aye.
Bradley,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Noble,
Aye.
Linneman.
Aye.
8 D8, employment of ESL bilingual teacher for the 23-24 school year.
Below is the detailed information about this item. Administration is prepared to make recommendations or hold for discussion in executive session. GCSD9 administration, the interview committee consisting of Ms. Kristen Navasis-Caberna, Mr. Steve Mathis, and Ms. Stacy Swingler, and Ms. Hannah Bush are recommending the employment of Monica Ortega as an ESL bilingual teacher for the 23-24 school year. Approval is recommended pending submission of required paperwork. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Curran.
Aye.
Silva. Aye. Bradley. Aye. Stacy.
Aye.
Noble.
Aye.
Lindemann.
Aye.
Benny. Aye.
Okay. 10A, the approval of an intergovernmental agreement between the Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services and GCSD9.
Sorry, I apologize. The detailed information is below. Administration is prepared to make recommendations or hold for executive session. With the approval of the state plan amendment, SPA, HFS requires a new intergovernmental agreement to be completed and signed by each participating LEA, local education association. The submission of the new IGA will allow HFS to continue to pay claims such as the fee for service monthly claims of quarterly Medicaid and administrative claims. Town School has reviewed this as agreement with the IGA. Approval is recommended and a copy of the IGA is attached for your review.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Silva.
Aye.
Bradley.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Noble.
Aye.
Lindemann.
Aye.
Benny. Aye. Curran.
Aye. 10B, the approval of additional days for special education coordinator during summer months.
Below is the detailed information. We are prepared to make recommendations or hold for discussion in this session. GCSD9 administration is asking for up to an additional 10 days during the summer months to utilize the special education coordinator as needed. Special education coordinator manages students who attend and out placements that go to school year round. The educational needs of the students continue throughout the summer months along with meetings, staffings, bus concerns, and crisis situations. Additionally, with the approval of the expansion of the ICA satellite classroom, those students identified as attending there will need to have IEP placement meetings held over the summer in order to be ready to start the school year. The special education coordinator oversees the students who attend ICA, Menta, and other placements. So approval is recommended considering all the issues we have on this.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Bradley. Aye. Stacy.
Aye.
Noble.
Aye.
Lindemann.
Aye.
Benny. Aye. Curran.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Okay, 10C is breakfast after the bell hearing, and on this one, we do need to motion to temporarily adjourn this meeting. We'll come back later. So do I have a motion to adjourn this current meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Do we need to vote on that?
No.
Okay, we can just do, okay.
Open the public hearing.
Right, okay, well, this is the public hearing regarding this breakfast after the bell, and any public comment? I guess I'm gonna look for Zach. No?
No, I
Okay.
presented the report last,
Yeah, I remember
Meeting
that.
minutes.
It's
So,
not taking food.
if there's no other public
Right.
comment, we can move on.
Yeah, we make sure everybody eats, that's the key takeaway.
This
So,
is just
everybody
the middle of the
yeah,
day.
we're good there.
Every year we vote to not do those, not to even them.
Well, it's just,
Yeah.
our kids have
Right.
100%, and then it's in the middle of the day and it disrupts the instruction.
And it also saves us like billions of dollars, right, not to do it? Doesn't it save us a lot of money?
Yes, it would create some unique
Yeah.
collective bargaining
Gotcha.
issues.
Okay, well then, do we have a, motion to, I guess, adjourn this meeting, this?
Just reconvene the
Just to go reconvene, okay. Then can we have a motion to reconvene the meeting?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now, that we're back in the meeting, we do need a motion to adopt this, breakfast and the bell portion here, adopt the resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? call? I'm trying to ask. Okay.
Stacy,
Aye.
Noble,
Aye.
Linneman,
Aye.
Benny, Curran,
Aye.
Silva,
Aye.
Bradley,
Okay. 10D, the 2023-24 joint agreement tentative budget resolution and publication of notice in the newspaper. And, Tom, this is another one
No, this is just a motion.
No.
this is just the,
A motion to
okay, so we're not.
put it in the newspaper.
I got you.
And set the public hearing.
Adopt the
And what?
resolution.
And set the public hearing.
And set the public hearing, yeah.
All right, move to publish and send it out public.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Or- Actually, we need to do a roll call on this one.
That didn't sound like an energetic guy.
Noble. We're doing a roll call.
Aye.
Linneman.
Aye.
Benny, Curran.
Aye.
Silva. Bradley. Stacy.
Aye.
Okay. Let's see here. 10E, tentative budget resolution, publication of notice in the newspaper for 23-24. Granite City School District 9, tentative budget resolution, publication.
So moved.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Linneman.
Aye.
Benny, Curran.
Aye.
Silva. Bradley. Stacy.
Aye.
Noble.
Aye.
Okay. 10F is the adoption of the 2022-23 amended budget. And, Tom, is this,
Yeah, we need to.
this is where we need to,
Yeah,
okay.
we need to go to public hearing.
Yeah, we will need another motion to temporarily adjourn.
So moved.
Stacy.
Okay. And, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then, asking for public comment once again, Zach?
This is, in the fall, I'll give a budget presentation.
Yes.
We simply had to adjust, buildings and grounds, O&M's budget up to encompass the HVAC renovation at the high school. We cannot expend money without it being budgeted, and it's just to cover us.
Okay. Do we have a motion to reconvene to the regular meeting?
Second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now if I could get a motion to adopt the 2022-23 amended budget.
So moved.
Okay, roll call on this.
Benny. Curran.
Aye.
Silva. Bradley. Stacy.
Aye.
Noble.
Aye.
Linneman.
Aye.
And 10G is a trust agreement with UC Bank.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure. Attached is a copy of a trust agreement. Our auditor requires us to deposit all summer checks for annualized staff on direct deposit into a trust account. The auditor does not require us to deposit all payroll amounts because checks will be written for those not on direct deposit. The checks are held in the vault until each payday. Zach, do you want to explain this more than just reading this? It's a lot-
Our auditor is required to clear the direct deposits out of our account, and the bank holds them in a trust and then distributes them on the pay dates, because we close our books and there's still 3 teacher pays for those teachers that are 26 pays, because it's 2 in July and 1 in August before their new contracts start, because they technically start closer to mid-August than July 1. And our fiscal year ends June 30 and starts July 1. So these are just the 3 payroll checks that bridge that gap.
And it's a routine, we do it every year.
Yes, every year. I just think it's.
Yes.
I never explained it, sounded
Right.
better than this.
We do it every year.
Okay, we have approved.
Move to approve.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Curran.
Aye.
Silva. Bradley. Stacy.
Aye.
Noble.
Aye.
Linneman.
Aye.
Benny.
Okay, 10H, the Granite City High School lab renovation with American Lab Design.
This, you were all provided with the diagrams and drawings for this ahead of time. GCSD9 administration requests the approval for the American Lab design for the Granite City High School lab renovation project to replace the entire biology and chemistry labs, which this will include casework, upper and lower sinks, drain boards, faucets, electrical outlets, 2 fume hoods, acid cabinets, ice shower, glass installation, shipping, cleanup, debris removal throughout both labs, downstairs and upstairs. I will say that Amy Heath was a big help in this, just helping us figure out who to use and what, so I appreciate her assistance in that too. We're requesting the approval of $349,856.50 for work to start in the summer of 2024. Approval is recommended.
So moved.
Ooh, Eric.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Silva.
Aye.
Bradley. Stacy.
Aye.
Noel.
Aye.
Linneman.
Aye.
Denny. Aye. Curran.
Aye. Okay, 10I, Coolidge Junior High School dish machine bid.
GCSD9 administration requests that the Board of Education award the Coolidge dish machine bid to Stafford Smith Inc. due to low bid specifications. Stafford Smith came in at $54,226.47. Rapid Food Service, $54,556.94, and Ford, $54,945. Approval is recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just got a quick question. So I know we go with the low bid, but do we actually have to? I mean, if one of the companies we thought would do a better job, I mean, are we comfortable with them?
Yeah, all of them are gonna be a Hobart product. These are just
Okay.
installers that Hobart
Yeah.
recommends, and they give that bid to
Okay.
us.
I just noticed they were all very
Yeah, they're very
close.
Yeah.
In this case, the difference was the installation, whatever the fee was
Right,
on that.
right.
Okay.
They were just a little cheaper on the installation, but these are all electric, dish machines, and we're getting away from the natural gas. So it'd be less chances of leaks or carbon monoxide and everything else, getting that out of the buildings.
Okay. Roll call.
Bradley. Aye. Stacy.
Aye.
Noel.
Aye.
Linneman.
Aye.
Aye. Curran.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
10J, the creation of environmental club at Granite City High School.
Yes, Granite City High School 11th grade students Marina Rader and Peyton Robinson gave a presentation to the Board of Education Administration at the May 23rd Board of Education meeting regarding their request to start an environmental club for the 23-24 school year. Granite City School District 9 Administration is pleased to ask permission to start this club for the 23-24 school year. Approval is recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussions? We can, do we need to, we don't need to roll call this one, do we? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Ayes have it. I guess we're up to the report items now. Yeah, if we can get a status report on all the summer work that everyone may have seen going around, or going on around town, from Eric Smith.
Yep. July is gonna be very busy for the school district. Coolidge, we're gonna start, lift station repair. That should start after the 4th. Grigsby, if you've been by Grigsby, the sidewalk has been removed, the rock base is installed. Concrete should start later this week, early next week, and then that lot will start after Wilson's asphalt lot is installed. They're supposed to move in after the 4th of July. Frohart's roof is 50% complete now. They're moving along pretty good. The high school intercom, we're gonna replace that. The contractor has some of the parts. We're hoping to get that installed late July. The HVAC at the high school, it's going good. It's on schedule, actually going really well. They're working 10-hour days now to keep up and try to get as much of the interior work done. Doors in the buildings, we have doors that are going to be delivered 8/14, or that's the ship date is 8/14. So those doors that we've been trying to get, the hardware and everything, that'll probably be in September. We should start installing those. Fencing is going to start tomorrow out at Mitchell for the playground. Grigsby security doors, we have those were delivered today. That's the front glass and the new security door for the vestibule there. That's gonna start to be installed tomorrow. Grigsby Painting, most of the interior is primed, if not painted. The lockers were just completed. It really looks good out there, and custodians have re-waxed everything. They've done a good job also. The parking lot ceiling, that's gonna start after the holiday weekend. Also, the playground mulch, we've put playground mulch in all playground areas. That's completed. The tuck pointing at Wilson, the last I was there, it was a third. It's probably 2/3 now complete. They're just rolling along, so that building should be completed also. And that's pretty much the update for the district.
Eric, what's that you said parking lot ceiling?
Yeah, we
Which
put
one?
the asphalt asphalt on top of it, just a seal coat. We will start on those. We'll probably do Prather. The ones that weren't done last year, we'll just start on them and see how much time we can get them done. And it's gonna be something we'll do every year. We have a machine now that does that, so we're doing that in-house, so this would be something that we're able to keep up on.
Busy. You know it.
Yeah, thank you very much. And then a strategic planning steering committee update by the superintendent.
Sure. As you know, we've been doing strategic planning all the way since December. We've been meeting consistently with a group, a steering committee made up of business people, stakeholders, parents, teachers, administrators. It's a large group. Sometimes some people are gone, sometimes some are there. We have 2 board members, Nick Canovo and Tom Kern, are both on that. We had a couple students as well who have been there consistently too. It's been very nice. We made progress developing the plan. It's supposed to enhance educational experience outcomes for the students. We've done Insight Group is the person who's doing it. They did surveys with parents. They've held focus groups with both parents and community members as well as students. I really like that they did student focus groups as well. From all the information we've been doing in these meetings and the information we've gathered, we are formulating and finishing up a vision and a mission statement that kind of encapsulate the district's future, where we want to go, how we want to improve things. That's very important. We're also going to do a set of priorities and strategies to implement that vision and mission. We're going to develop an implementation plan which will outline specific steps and strategies to carry that out. We're planning on getting that all done, hopefully by the end of September. The last meeting's in September. We have a tagline. I don't want to spoil it all because we're going to review it all. It's going to be really nice. And like I said, there's follow-up. We're going to be using, when Canovo and I were talking a little bit, the steering committee, the basis of it, at least some of them are going to use that and try to transition some of those people who are willing to continue on to the Citizens Advisory Committee. Start with that and then move from that. I think it's a great place to start with implementing the strategic planning. Other people know it's on that as well. I just think the ongoing implementation and monitoring the plan will be crucial. And instead of this just being something that sits on a shelf, we want to make sure that we include people from the district and we go through that and then we have these plans and we update throughout the year to the board and to the community so they can see this is an active document, not just something that we're doing just to put out there. I love that we're going to have a unified mission and vision, tagline. I think it's going to be really nice for all of us. So we're really excited about this July meeting and finishing up all the work we've done.
So if that finishes up at the end of September, would that be brought to the board?
July.
Oh, sorry, the end of July? Would that be brought to the board
It'll
in
be,
August?
I'm not sure if it's gonna be the July or August meeting, we're gonna see where we are. We're working on the covers, some of the detailed, now we're sort of on to the actual, what the plan will look like. So trying to make sure, it's really fun and I'm really excited about the success and the work that everybody's put into it.
There was an amazing amount of work put into this, and I was so impressed with
All the people, right?
the people who really were thinking about this deeply, and, I mean, it's so professional.
It was really, I wanna thank all the people in the steering committee, because it did take a long time. Out of their days, we were there several hours, we did feed them, but it was just really helpful, and it was really nice to hear all the different perspectives on things too. It wasn't just, we didn't just hear from education, we had a chiropractor, we had a dentist, there were all other teachers from other districts, there were parents, I thought administrators. I just thought it was really interesting to hear all that, and I'm looking forward to continuing that voice and hearing it as we go to implement the strategic plan, so. Anything, Tom?
No, I'm thrilled to be able to see the end of this and have it tie in with, you kind of already touched on it, but, you know, so we can have milestones and we can actually refer to this thing and see what we're meeting, and if we're not meeting it, you know, okay, people are gonna know because it's in a document now.
That's right.
Give us direction.
It's all about it.
So,
The
yeah.
implementation there makes me excited.
That keeps
That's-
everybody on track.
Right.
That's
Right.
important.
So, yeah, and it's, and you might hear this a lot, but there are strategic plans, you know, sometimes they're done by, governmental organizations where
And then hand it
they have
over.
every good
Yes.
intention and then it collects dust on a shelf.
We don't
So,
do
yeah, we definitely do not wanna do that,
This
so.
is a grassroots.
And the implementation plan, I think, is gonna be key, and I've identified some people have volunteered even to head up and to lead those implementation sections, so we'll divide that up, and then there are gonna be some people in the district have offered, I've been really, really happy to get the results in and the people who are involved. So we're excited for it.
I guess next is the multi-grade level school committee update.
Alright, so, try not to go too long, but I wanna give some updates, some information. So just a general context for those of you just tuning in, are like, what's a grade level, you know, I'm sure you've all heard of this before, but, you know, COVID had created a lot of the work that we had done because it drew focus and resources to others. But even last year, our committee was meeting with district administration. At the time, the committee was Talon and myself. And over that year, we were collecting a lot of data because we want this decision to be data informed and all of our planning to be data driven as well, not just feelings driven or like knee-jerk reactions. And so we've collected demographic data, particularly geographic and population data, where our students are living, and then cross-referencing that with where our schools currently are, which is a whole other thing. Discussions of transportation come into play, building availability and feasibility. Yeah, we have some buildings around the city, but not all of them are feasible to be used in school, for schools. Considering other types of logistics, potential funding, because it will be an investment. I've said that before, I want to reiterate that. This is going to be an investment in the future of our schools, and it will come with a price tag. Good news is, we've already been looking, making sure, you know, Zach has commented several times, we have quite a low debt right now. He would like for us to keep it as low as possible, I know, but sometimes you gotta prime the pump a bit to spend some money and get some results. To my recollection, it's been decades since we've had any major renovations or even constructions, and so we'll have to bring some things up to date with that. Our current committee members are Becky and myself, it's Bradley and myself, and we've been meeting in May and June, and she and I were just talking earlier today. We're hoping to up the frequency over the summer to get some things really moving forward. So we're looking at 2 meetings in July and 2 meetings in August. And those meetings will be bringing other people into the fold. So we've been meeting with Stephanie and other district administrators. We want to reiterate before I go further that there is no official action being taken on this yet. We're just moving us forward. We will have a recommendation to the board at some point. But prior to that, we have a lot of more information and put together. So we would like to be meeting with district administrators, building principals, staff, teachers. Probably need to be doing a little bit of collaboration with some other committees because there will be some some bleeding between, not literal bleeding, okay, bleeding, but like blurring some lines between construction, obviously the strategic plan. And so we'll be bringing more people into the conversation. Becky and I firmly believe that we want to include as much of the public in this as possible, hear as many voices as possible, but also you need to be efficient in that. And so we want to have a communication process that'll be multifaceted, multi-directional, but also allows for us to be able to process everything. So while we are going to try to reach out to everybody, we won't be going door to door asking for personal invitations. So if you have things to say or suggestions, come to us. We're looking at surveys, meeting with the committee, maybe community members individually or as a full on committee. Later down the road, as we narrow down options, given the input that we receive, we plan to have at least one town hall, if not a couple, to share information with the district, so in the community, so everyone understands where we're coming from. We want to be purposeful and deliberate in this, and we want to make educated plans for our future. We want to make sure that that is sustainable, and that at the heart of everything, while we all have our wishes, traffic flows, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We wanna make sure we're doing what's best for kids, and that we're creating buildings that best serve our kids. And so, as we continue to move forward, this is an inexhaustive list of factors that we're still considering as we go through. First and foremost, the impacts on children, positive and negative, because this will be an adjustment. We are not making a formal recommendation, I'll say that again, but I think it is safe to say that given what data we have, our committee is leaning toward exploring the options to bring more grade levels into a given building to reduce the number of transitions that our children experience moving from school to school. So now we're looking at possibilities for that. District administration, particularly Brad Irby, but really the whole district admin team, from what I understand, has done a lot of really great work. They've presented 7 possible scenarios to us, each of those containing strengths and challenges to consider. So there's already been a ton of work and thought put into this at the district level, but we want to continue talking with people on that. We also want to keep in mind not just like academic implications, but also social, emotional, developmental implications for children and then subsequently their families. Obviously, curriculum and instruction, building cultures, staffing needs, because staffing is a dynamic numbers game every year, depending on enrollment, and we do have a mobile population, and that will impact how we staff our schools. So all of that needs to be taken into consideration. Other logistics like start times and transportation. We are all in the committee, I say all, us. We are looking at outside of the box options. So for example, maybe two elementary schools start at a different time. Like, what do we need to do to make this work for families? And so we're not going to be chained to that's what's always been done in the past. We're looking for what has worked in the past, what would work for us now, and what ultimately will work for us in the future and be sustainable. So lots of options like that on the table. Financing, of course, so we'll be meeting with Zach. We'll probably be making him a lot of cookies to see what we can buy and get away with. We want to make changes, we want to move us forward, but we need to do so, as I said earlier, in a sustainable way. We don't want to stretch ourselves so thin that we become quote unquote house poor. That's right. Probably a lot of people are going to say know that term. So we don't want to stretch ourselves too thin where we can't be responsive and be responsible during the running of school, because things come up like dishwashers and gyms to be replaced, things like that. But we do want to move forward on that. And then overarching through all of this is we're trying to engage as many people, stakeholders as possible. We also have to keep in mind that this is going to be a major shift, most likely. We're not making the recommendation yet, but it's going to be a change. And some people are going to love parts of it, some people are going to hate parts of it. You can't make everybody happy, but again, our anchor is what is going to be the best experience for a Granite City child to go through our schools. And that's what we're using as our compass to guide us through the process. All right, that was a lot, sorry. A lot of work's been done though.
Erica,
Yes.
have you asked for teachers to be
Yeah,
on
so-
the committee?
Yes, so we want to expand our committee. I'm kind of thinking, we're thinking in terms of like concentric circles, if that makes sense. So far we've been working with the committee, Becky and myself, and a few district administrators like Stephanie and some other people. There are still other people we would like to talk with at the district level, and then continue to expand out, then building principals, staff, teachers, and having people join. So we're kind of building out our committee, and then also families, other community stakeholders as we grow out. The idea is that we'll be gradually narrowing down options as we're expanding, and then that will come to, hopefully one great plan will come out of that. It'll be brought to the board for action and then implementation. It's ambitious, but we are hoping right now that we take care of this work ASAP without rushing, which we haven't rushed. We've put a lot of thought into this already. But we are operating with a target implementation of next school year, the 24-25 school year. That might, that's ambitious, so I'm not making promises again, but that's what we're trying to do. Right, that's what we're working toward right now.
So will you be using summertime as well for meetings?
Yes, so that's one reason why, so Becky and I initially had said, we'll meet monthly, but as we're seeing, what we don't wanna do is be like, hey, it's April, or it's even March or February, we're gonna go shift everything around the whole district. That's gonna send people into a panic. I've already seen a few concerned faces out in the audience when I said we're looking for 24-25. But it's time. It's been coming. We've lost some time with COVID. And if we know what we need to do, we wanna do it. And we wanna make sure we're doing it deliberately, thoughtfully, with sustainability and an eye to the future on that.
Could you, just real quick, touch on, you mentioned a mobile population, and I know not everybody knows exactly.
Yeah, so a couple things. One, we have what in education you call high mobility, which means a lot of people moving. So moving in the district, out of the district, moving within the district, which when you're talking about looking at attendance centers, that has implications because you might live on this side of town, but now you moved over here. You have a renter population. Now, what I hear is that the housing market is going up in Granite City, which is great. So hopefully populations will, I don't wanna say stabilize, they're not
Stabilize a
stable, but
little
like,
more, I would say.
yeah, but I think something else we just need to keep in mind is that the world is a more mobile place now. It's not just a Granite City mobility thing, like the world is mobile. And people aren't as attached to their homes as they used to be, you know, like you sell, you buy, you whatever. And some of that's a generational shift, I think, too. So where that comes to be a challenge for us is all of this planning is about numbers projections. It's like literally trying to predict the future. So you have to think of not only how many kids in total will we have, but how many kids at what ages, and where will they be located, and then try to make sure they have a good school experience and plan all your things for the next 5 to 6, whatever beyond years around that. So it's tricky.
Registration's going on right now
Yeah.
too, so that's why it's important that everybody register, not wait till 2 weeks before school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good plug.
Yeah.
Yeah, please,
Because
encourage, I said that.
I am notoriously a
We're
late
working
register,
with the
but I did it
numbers
yesterday.
now,
Yes.
not the 2 weeks before.
Yeah,
school
that, I mean,
starts.
that's an excellent
And don't
point, Lori.
forget those physicals.
Right.
But yeah, the registration helps because that helps with planning. I mean, it's
The sooner you
awful.
could do that, the better.
Yeah. 'Cause it's
One
really
more
hard to
thing
have
is the
August
buses
stuff.
this year, parents have to register for buses this year too,
Like
is
they'll
that not
choose,
correct?
we'll send it out, but they're
Okay,
gonna have
but
to,
just look
they'll
for
have to
that.
decide if they're gonna tell us if you're gonna ride the bus or not, but we'll get that out.
But register.
Yes.
So we know you're there.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, board committees by me. And, really, this is just an opportunity to let everyone know what the board committees are. You just got a really good explanation of one that I don't have to talk about now, so that's great. That was I guess it's on paper as the Attendance Centers Evaluation Committee. But yes, you know, we're moving toward this multi-grade system. And some of the others are the Citizens Advisory Council, which we recently brought up. I don't know if Linda wants to say, I mean, really, it's
It's essentially what Superintendent Han was explaining. It was a long time ago when we had it, and then it stopped before COVID, or by the time COVID came. And we had gotten our teeth into some things that we thought were very beneficial for this district, and we're hoping to continue that as well. And it'll become more available to the public as we get more information and do a little more digging, so.
And we'll have agendas and we'll get that out.
Yep.
Sure.
We love starting with the steering committee folks. We wanna be as transparent as possible, let you all know what's going on and what we're working hard at, so thank you.
And another part of that transparency is the Community and Public Relations Committee. And they're responsible for the public image, you know, and all that, and just trying to make sure that we get the word out, you know, as best we can. And that's, well, Eric Stacy and Lori Silva. Linda's an alternate on that committee. And some of these committees haven't really met in a while, so one of our goals is to kind of have more of these meetings, have more of these reports, let people know what's going on within the committees and not just generalized board meeting. Just a little more, you know, I don't think in the past that anybody was withholding things purposely. I think it's just, you know, sometimes we maybe could have shared a little more, and so we're doing better. The construction committee, that's me and Don Lindeman, and Becky's the alternate on that one. And that's what you kind of think, not just construction, but also buildings and grounds. You know, we leaned on Eric Smith last week to have the meeting. He gave us a version of what you heard earlier tonight. And then also, the Employee Evaluation Committee. And that's just, that is a committee that focuses on the performance and the appraisal processes for the evaluations that go on in the district and the evaluation of the superintendent. Yeah. The Financial Oversight Committee, that's myself and Linda. And basically, it's just to monitor the financial health of the district, and it's, to serve like another set of eyes. Zach has been amazing with that kind of thing, so and that's really helped us out. And let's see, where am I? Intergovernmental. Eric and Don, and then Erica is the alternate. And that's kind of a liaison between the school district and the other government. So when the school district works with, whether it's federal or not, or even local, the library where I work, or police, city, anything like that can be intergovernmental. So, sometimes there's different agreements that have to go on, and that's what that committee's for. Yeah. So negotiations is certified employees and classified employees, and that's union stuff. And contracts and employment terms and things like that. The policy committee is the committee that develops, we review and develop policies that generally get recommended to the board for an actual vote. So like we had one before this meeting, everything discussed, some of the stuff that was discussed there would be put forward for not this meeting, but the next meeting. And then SABRE, and that's Eric, I don't know if you want to speak to the SABRE, just what SABRE is, not everybody knows.
It's our form of DARE. And so I was the SABRE officer for 8 years before I left the schools, left my assignment in the schools, and now Officer Maui is our SABRE officer. There's a SABRE committee that is kind of independent of the school district, and that's who we kind of work with. They put on dances, they teach in classrooms in the fifth grade, stuff like that.
Thank you. School improvement plans and school programs, that is the committee that focuses on the development and implementation of plans that improve the performance and student achievement. And then there's the Southwestern Division of the Illinois Association of School Boards, which is, they kind of serve as a liaison almost with the Illinois Association of School Boards. That's one that hasn't met a lot traditionally. I used to be on that board, now Don is. But it's, we try to send people to the IASB conference every year and let people know what we heard and what we saw. And, if something were to come up, that's an as-needed committee. We can bring it, have that discussion however it's needed. And then there is the Special Education Board, which is Becky Bradley and Eric's an alternate. And that's the board that focuses on programs and services for students with disabilities. Just trying to make sure that everyone's got educational opportunities regardless of their ability. And then our student board member advisor, Erica Venny and Lori Silva and Don Lindeman. And they select our student board members, so that recently happened. That just, having that board member helps make sure that we get student insight into this board and to help with policy.
We've learned so much from them over the last couple of years. Like, we've given out, they take their role very seriously, and they try to engage with all members of the student body, and the insights that they've provided.
Sometimes they do surveys.
Yeah.
We are gonna have a student advisory board, like, starting to, very excited. They'll kind of decide what it's gonna call. Let's do that. I'm excited.
Anyway, that's enough for me. Those are the committees, and some may be created down the road, some may be removed. That's what we have at the moment. Anyway, anything else on that? The next part is a discussion amongst the board members here. To talk about the possibility of starting back with 2 board meetings per month. So I don't know if anyone wants to lead this off.
I don't mind starting.
Okay.
since I'm probably the longest person on the board,
Can we
longest.
interject something real fast, just a disclaimer sort of? We're not deciding anything right now, we're discussing this.
Mhm.
Should
Right.
anything be
Yeah.
decided, that would be on the agenda for.
No vote on the agenda tonight.
Yeah, that would be the next time if we were to do that.
I have seen both the 2 times a month type of board meetings. It was extremely rigorous and oftentimes exhausting. I didn't think that we really accomplished that much in those 2 weeks that we had work put in front of us, and the ability to really focus on the whole wasn't really there. Eventually, it was decided by the board that they, based on what we had looked at in the research of other districts, why are we doing 2 times a month when it just seemed that we could have accomplished so much more and presented so much more to the public at a once a month meeting. So I've experienced both, and I have to say, this is the smoothest working board that I've ever had the pleasure of being on. And I think a lot of it is because people are so focused on their abilities to understand and be able to do the work that they are here for. We've never explained the committees to our public before. This is the first time that committees have ever been explained, and I think it's great that they've never known that school board members are on committees, you know. So it's just something that I think is important to get out there. I hope that we can continue with the once a month. I think we're giving you everything we've got, and I hope that, and I know we're gonna continue doing that. We just have a very vital board on this group, so thank you.
Well, I do have something.
Yeah, okay.
I just, in running for election and so forth, went through a lot of neighborhoods, rang a lot of doorbells, talked to a lot of people. And one thing that was like the number one thing that people said was they just don't trust what's going on. They don't know what's going on, they don't think there's transparency. And I think 2 meetings a month gives more transparency. The people in Granite City want it, and I think they deserve it because there is so much going on, especially this year. Erica just mentioned you guys are gonna be meeting at least 2 months, on your committees. That our committees get together. People don't really know what's going on, and we need to be ourselves abreast of what's happening in the district. And like I said, especially with the multi-level schools going into effect, people want to know what's happening. And there's just that element of distrust when it takes so long before you hear anything. And there's some things that we're not sure what's going on. Maybe, this is, the meetings go a little long now, perhaps the meetings would be maybe half the time if we had 2 a month. But-
They never did. They never did. They
Well,
were
I'm
long
just telling you
meetings.
what the people that I spoke to,
I know.
they want transparency, and that's why
But
we
I
were
think
elected,
I
to
think
let them know.
what you've experienced this evening has been the ability to show people that we are being very transparent. Those meetings that we're going to be having and those committees that we're developing, and you and I are on committees together, and there is the opportunity to really give them the heart and soul of what we're doing. And I think that maybe in the past, there might have been some kind of concern about the issues, but not now. I don't see it,
There
and
are
I
a lot.
don't hear it.
There are
I think
a lot of
transparency,
concerns.
and I agree, I think the transparency, I think that's part of, with our new board, that's something we've been working very hard on. My concern about going to 2 meetings a month is a couple things. One, in speaking with even the person who came from the state of the ISB to train us on the school board, told us, you shouldn't do 2 meetings a month. It's inefficient, you don't need it. Second,
He didn't say, I think he said you can do.
he said you can, he's like, but you don't really,
Right.
there's no reason to. Like, that was my takeaway, I don't know if anybody else heard that.
I know we
Well, I
kinda-
think
Yeah, go
having does assist you with in hiring and stuff like that. There are times, I mean, we agreed when we went to one, that when we needed to hire
Call
people,
special meeting.
that we would call special meetings, and I've found that that hasn't really happened. We just end up like tonight where we hire, and what have you. So I think it can help with that. I mean, I can be as transparent at one meeting as two, right? But I think there are advantages to having two meetings. I do think that it would cut back on, I mean, I'm not gonna be here till, I guess this is a personal thing, right? I do think that, you are gonna cut some of the stuff out of, your meeting's not gonna be as long, right? It's just, I mean, you're not gonna have as much, stuff to talk about.
My biggest concern with this is the amount of work and hours spent on preparing for meetings. When our district administration and building principals sometimes could be spent doing the work of the district versus planning for a meeting every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
I mean, not to throw people out and like, you don't have to answer, but like, how much time do you spend preparing for a board meeting? It's a lot, and so I'd like to, I mean, we could even poll and do numbers and something, but I would rather than be doing business of the district versus preparing for a meeting every 2 weeks.
So I will agree with Lori. I walked the campaign trail myself, and the majority of the parents and stuff that we did speak to, they were very adamant about the board has to go back to 2 meetings a month. I do second that. I do like that theory. I will take a little of Eric's. I think you could maybe solve hiring. I understand the special meetings, but discipline, I think things get pushed off a whole month. It's hard to go back. Your feelings and stuff that may be very strong a month later may just fizzle out where it's not as big of an issue as what it was 2 weeks ago. So I do think that 2 meetings would be valuable to go back to, but I wasn't involved in 2 meetings the first time.
And I will tell you, going back to, you know, we said we'd have that second board meeting, what I found, I mean, you tell me if you disagree, on the few occasions that we did it, it was rough trying to find, like, okay, is anybody, are we available this day, this day, this day? Whereas if we just know, I mean, I knew when I got on the board, when I got on the board, when you guys got on the board, there were 2 meetings a month. And so I knew that.
Well, part of the
And going-
idea
so-
for the scheduled, for one meeting a month was we were to keep that second Tuesday
Open.
as
But I don't
the
feel like that
potential
happened,
for-
but I don't feel like that
I don't think it
happened.
happened
But
then,
it
no,
only
we
happens
did.
when we need it.
But I mean, it
But
could
it-
very well happen now.
Well, I'm
I
wondering
mean-
when, like, so yeah, we haven't used it a lot, but I would argue that's because we haven't needed to use it. Like, when has it been detrimental to us that we missed out on something or some business didn't get handled because we went to 1 month?
Well, and not to mention, there's
It's
already
not-
4 months that we do one. Even when we did 2, there were 4 months where we did one.
Yes.
November, December, June, July.
Yes. And it's not detrimental to us, it's not detrimental, it's detrimental to people in Granite City who want to know what's happening in the schools.
But I think we approach that then with a different kind of communication
Well, part of me
strategy,
thinks
like
we
giving
approach it
updates.
with something like this. When's the
Yeah.
last time we had this conversation publicly?
Exactly.
Right.
And I
Well,
want, can I?
I think it
Right,
can be
updates.
detrimental to us in hiring. I think it can be, if we're just looking at what it can be. Between hiring, discipline that Donnie brought up, you know, people who are, kids who are put up for expulsion, 10 days, you know, they get 10 days and then we're putting them on homebound. Because
That's a
we're only
big
having one
expense
meeting,
until the meeting.
which costs money to the district,
Mhm.
so.
I'd like to go back to your comment, Eric, about the interviews, the hiring of people. You do know that we have interview committees that are doing interviews all the time. We get constant.
Right, and
yeah.
so if we do this
What-
every 2 weeks, then they're not
So the
waiting a month.
So the problem you're saying is that we have too many people listed to say,
I think,
These are-
I think to,
No, no,
no,
no.
it would,
But when you're competing for people, if we want Erica Vinny to come to our district and we wait a month to hire her, she's getting offers from other places.
Don't we have something that goes,
You can
that
give
gives
them the
them a,
recommendation.
that gives them a temporary, knowledge that they have a very good chance of being hired.
But that doesn't, there's so many people, I mean, so many
Yeah.
jobs out
Have
there
we,
that.
what's the data on this last year since we've gone to 1 month that we've lost out on people because we waited too long because we were at one meeting? Has it happened in the last year since we went to one meeting?
No one's walked away from us.
I know there's been like the geography,
Well, we
question.
decided to take recommendations, that was something that for the new board, we offered a recommendation to them, so that they would
For the reason.
Yeah.
I understand the transparency and the communication, but I think that should be resolved through communication and not upping a frequency of a meeting. I think we as a board can communicate. We can communicate more than once a month.
Well, and there's
We
part
can
of me too,
provide committee updates.
and I don't know the statistics, but, how much are the board meeting videos viewed in their entirety? Because I know as with most social media videos, they start up here and this happens.
Yeah, that's sure, that's valid.
And so people may not see it all there. They may be waiting for a report, whether it's at the board type thing, it's something from a board member, it's whatever, I
And I
think.
think communicating, honestly, the same information in a variety of formats is important too, because not everybody gets their information from reading the minutes, not everybody gets their information from watching a YouTube or Facebook, so I think having that messaging and improving our communication and providing these regular updates, and then we could even provide
We can use our website for many of the updates too.
social
Chris
media is
does a
something we
lot
could
of-
be using.
Chris actually knows what's our average viewer,
He probably knows the app.
average viewer numbers.
Right now, there's 35 people watching live. I would have to go back and pull the numbers to see how many people view. Now, we have had a lot of success with Superintendent Can's
Yeah.
90-second videos, just providing a quick update, because that's what the community has wanted, is more updates.
Well, and why couldn't the board provide an update too, Alan or whomever, because, you have these at the boards or whatever, like a recap, I know Lori's done some recaps on her social media, something like that where we're still engaging with the public. I really worry about bogging down people that we have a lot of work for them to do with preparing for these meetings every 2 weeks.
I will say our park district meets twice a month to run a successful park, and I think they do a great job. I mean, we're dealing with our kids' future. I really do think it's important to make sure that we keep that in mind, that we're focusing on our children's future, so I kind of feel that that's pretty valuable, so.
Right, which is why I would rather the administrators doing the work for the children's future and not preparing for a meeting.
And to speak to, and I will be the first to say, you don't just do something because everyone else does it.
Yeah. But there is such thing as best practices in any
But
field.
the best numbers I think we've got at the moment is that there's 852 school districts in Illinois. And I think fewer than 1% of those, it's like under 10 districts, have 2 meetings a month.
But there's a reason for that.
Now, granted is, if we just went over the committees, and if committees start to meet more and I think that helps, I really do, especially,
And giving those committee updates,
I think it just makes your one meeting longer.
I don't say it makes it.
But let's just say
The
we
public
can't publish those
wanting
committee
to
updates,
have
like,
more
why just-
information, then
Yeah,
that's what we're.
I don't disagree, but it's easier to get it out twice a month than making our meetings even longer, because now we start doing the committee updates, which we should, right?
Yeah.
But
why not do
so
those
what you're
like
telling me
every
is we're
2
just gonna
weeks
make this
or
one meeting even longer, and like you said, we have 35 people right now, and in an hour, we're gonna have
What
a lot less than that.
Well,
Are you saying that we're not that
times a
fascinating?
Yes, yes. I can't believe we got 35.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just saying, especially at this time, with everything that's going on with planning for the new schools, I know parents just wanna know what's going on.
But we can do
And I
that
think
without
they
a
need
meeting.
timely updates on what's going on.
I agree.
I would like to know more what's going on you know, to be more apart. Sometimes I think like waiting till the next month, it's like, I don't even remember what we were discussing last month. It's a lot of time in between and.
I agree,
going
I would
through
agree with
everything.
that if that's all we were doing. Just the board meeting, and here's the information, and we don't post anything else. But I do think there is an attempt to get more information out, and to try and I've tried to do some of that with the board too.
I'm just gonna throw something out to the crowd, because we have district administrators in this room right now, feel free to answer or not, if it's awkward silence, I'm cool with that. How much time did you spend preparing for today's meeting over the last month? Hours, days?
I'm just being honest, most of them probably just showed up tonight.
No, but some of them did.
My board administrators?
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
no,
Just
no,
a
no.
minute, like,
But
no,
like
they-
principals and stuff like that come to the
Well,
meetings because
Yeah,
they're
let's not say
expected to.
principals, but like
Central office staff.
central office staff,
Okay,
yeah.
central office.
Because
staff,
those
yeah.
are the people that are gonna be doubling their preparation time now.
I
When
think
they
the
have
only
other
person-
work to
I
be
mean,
doing.
somebody's gonna be doubling their time, would probably be like Corey, because she's gotta get the agenda ready twice. But I don't know, Steve, how much time did you devote to?
I'm in a weird spot because I'm transitioning.
Yeah.
So like the only thing I really had on this, because this is my last week at central office.
Yeah.
So the only thing I had on the agenda is my hire, but I spent a significant time hiring and preparing those boxes for the hire.
Right, but you would be working on that whether we had one or 2 meetings a month
Yeah.
anyway, it doesn't matter.
Higher.
But I haven't lost a hire that I recommended due to having only one meeting. But that's just personal for the amount of people I've interviewed.
Okay, so for hires, we're not that, okay. Who else did spend some time? Vicki, did you spend a lot of time getting stuff ready?
I didn't track it because it wasn't something I
Yeah,
was
again,
aware
it
of,
might not be
but-
an answerable question, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because by the time you, with your interviews, working with HR, getting the information, writing the gray boxes, holding the interviews, then all the other information that we had on there this evening, I mean, I can't tell you how many hours we put in.
But you would still be writing the gray boxes, regardless if it was once or twice a month.
Steve, what are you gonna
So
say?
that really doesn't
It's,
make a difference.
this isn't a very,
Right.
we're
I mean,
we're at a less busy time of year. If you asked us this question in October or November, when we're doing future planning, that answer would look very, very different than it does right now.
Yeah.
Well, and Mickey and I are also not just sitting in interviews and preparing gray boxes and doing all these things for multiple people.
Right.
We're also closing grants, writing grants, working on, CDP stuff, working on all the things that behind the scenes make things run smoothly for whenever everybody appears. You have things like curriculum and, all the things that make everything run smoothly.
And that's
So-
my argument, that's kind of the argument I'm making,
Yeah.
you have a whole other job
Yeah.
to do besides preparing for our
Yeah,
meetings.
we don't just
and I
show
don't wanna
up to a
bind you up.
meeting.
And I don't think
Yeah.
anybody that's already
No,
on
and I
first
get
meeting
that.
is saying that.
But really
I'm
the
not
question
biting
here
you.
is it more work for you if we had 2 meetings?
Yes.
Because you're still gonna be doing the gray boxes, you're still gonna be doing curriculum, you're still gonna be doing everything that you do now, right? I
During
mean,
the school
am
year,
I
is
wrong?
it taxed more of your time to have 2 meetings or 1?
Yeah.
I think the frequency is where the rub comes, because having to prepare, turn around and prepare again, and to make sure that we have anything, where if we have a little bit of space, that we can make sure we're getting everything we need in there. I just think the frequency, but.
Again, I know I put you all on the spot, you probably weren't prepared to even think about or answer that question, but.
There's also a part of me that, and at first this may sound like a stretch, but I'm not accusing any board members here of doing this. But there's also the thing with board members, or even with the public, in terms of viewing these or coming here and sitting down, that if you have 1, it's like, okay, that's the monthly amount. If you have 2, it becomes a lot easier to say, I'll go to the next one. And it's not that important this time, I'll go to the next one. And because it happens in regular meetings. It's one of those things that, people will treat office meetings that way, and this and that. It's like, I have this weekly meeting that I don't need to worry about this week, I'll go next week.
No, I think you're talking about like the general public, not like a board member.
I'm talking about board members too. I'm not saying it's anyone here, but it could very easily happen where
Yeah.
somebody decides, you know what, I gotta decide between this and something else. And, I looked at the thing and there's not a ton on here, I'm gonna go to this. I'm not saying, I'm not saying it's here. I'm saying it's a human nature thing.
But you're right, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. And a lot of times too, we have to consider consider like, it's kind of a both and, like, we're making decisions for this board and how we function with this board, but we're also, everything that we do sets precedent for future boards too. Now, that's not to say like we can't do, you know, because they can change if they want to too, but that's something to consider, like, while the people around this table may not do that, there's nothing that says the person wouldn't do that. But and then, of course, we could address that, you know, their attendance or whatever, because they're elected to be present.
Well, I just see it that we're here for the families of Granite City. I know what people that I have talked to, they are concerned. They don't know whether to trust what's going on, what's not. I think the more that we stay on, if issues, impending issues, get them out so we know more about it, we're more educated. When we run into people and they're saying, oh, what's going on over there at, you know, Frobart on the roof or whatever, we can tell them, oh, here, this is what's going on over there.
Our construction report.
I know, but we're here for the families of Granite City, not for our convenience,
No,
I'm
but-
sorry, you guys, but not for your convenience,
But
but
it's
they
not their
want
convenience,
to
it's
know.
them serving the public, and I would argue the distrust started back when we had 2 meetings. So, I don't think the distrust.
Way before that.
Yeah, like, there's been distrust, I think it's a communication and a transparency issue, which I think we should address those things, not the frequency of meetings. Because we, as a district, were two meetings a month for a very long time, and there was a lot of distrust at that time too. And most people that I've spoken with, which we spoke with different people, they would rather us have the business of the district is taking care of business, and then we have a meeting once a month.
Yeah.
I just wanna, during my interview process, that board, when we had 2 meetings, it was a big deal for them to make sure that we talked about communication and we changed it. It was my idea to hire a communications manager. I don't know about other people out there, but there wasn't any of that prior to us being here and getting on Instagram. Chris does a marvelous job of making sure what's going on about registration. Every day we're working on things to put out. I do videos, I could do more videos. I guess it bothers me that people are distrustful. I don't know what I'm not saying, what we're not doing. I think that Chris and I talk almost every day. Tim and I talk about safety, Jim and I talk about HR, Jill and Libby, all of us talk on a regular basis about things going. Chris about food service, he gets menus out regularly now. Everything's out there online, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We make videos, I put board updates out, I have a
I think
Hands
the
Corner.
Board of Education, like the members, we could be communicating. I mean, that's what we're working toward now, and I've already heard, I'm sure many of you have, they like that. They love the fact that we're gonna talk about things. I mean, I don't know if they like what we said, but they knew it was on the agenda.
That
I'm
is
glad
another
we're
thing,
sharing
Erica,
that.
because really, quite frankly, if I have a question about something, I can't like call up several people to say, hey, what about this? You know, we can't really discuss things, but
You
once
can't
a month.
discuss it, I mean, for educational purposes, information, you can ask questions if you're wanting to learn about things. We can't discuss anything that
Yeah, we gotta be
for
careful
open
about the
meetings
back
act,
and
we
forth.
can't do the back and forth.
That's
So like, if you
right.
have a question,
But if you have a question, you can call
You
me
get a
or-
hold of our superintendent and she, because
I
we have
understand
to
that,
tell
I
her,
understand that.
we have to tell her we work with her as we work in our committees. She knows what we are doing, and that's the process. So when you want to know something, you simply contact the superintendent. I hope
and
the people
sometimes it's
out
something-
there,
Anybody can do that.
I hope the people
My
out
door
there
is
can do
open.
that too,
All
because
the time.
that encourage that. She's the central figure in knowledge about what is going
well,
on in
but
this
also,
district.
that aside, like, I mean, we can't make any like decisions or anything,
No.
but you can contact any single board member and ask them a question about something. We just can't make a decision on that.
But you can't ask more than
I think
one.
you're just saying like more open conversation like this is
Yeah.
what the public's want.
And I think we can do that, but it doesn't have to be 2 meetings a month.
And so, I think I can call you and ask you a question, but then, can I say it out loud? Can I tell the public what we talked about? You know, like that's I think that's the issue, like, I know because I get emails, like what's going on, but if it's not out there or discussed openly, to know how we feel or how the decision was made.
This is the
I
open
think
meeting.
But that's where I think we can do a better job.
That's just what people want more.
Communication, it doesn't have to be a board meeting, like, we can give updates periodically. I mean, I'm fine with, I can do a committee update every 2 weeks if we want, and publish that. I mean, not everybody's comfortable with that, but like, I'm just saying, I think this is a communication and transparency kind of issue that can be resolved through other avenues of by being better communicators and engaging with the public outside of 2 meetings a month outside of this meeting right here. Because again, as someone in schools, it's not for the convenience of them, it's that these people have work to do that need to serve our children and our families, and we're tying them up by preparing for meetings and bureaucratic work by doubling our meetings again. And that's a concern to me, because I know how much time that takes in a school year when you're having 50,000 other things to work on. And I don't want any other things to slip, because they have to prepare things for our meetings, because we're their bosses. Can I say one other thing?
One more.
It'll be short. We all feel strongly about this, but I have to say, like, even though we disagree, I love having the conversation with you, and it's refreshing to have the conversation with you. And so.
And this is the only time we can do this.
So we can have this.
Public has to realize this.
I did.
Don't prepare anything, we'll just meet like this.
I did
How about that?
purposely schedule this way, because I knew we couldn't vote on it yet.
Yeah,
That's
and
how I
it's
set
smart,
it
because
up.
it's time to marinate.
Because I was like,
I'm
let's
getting
do
old,
an
I
open
forget what
session.
happened by the next month, I'm telling you.
We can remind you and give you minutes.
Well, that's why
I'll
I say-
remember that you got pissed at me when I, sorry. I said something.
It got a little too- Okay.
I am so sorry, everyone.
All right. Well,
We have all kinds of people at our
hope
next
everybody
meeting.
enjoyed that one.
Maybe we have,
It was nice working with you all, I wish you all the best of luck in the future.
42. People are calling each other and going, you should see what's going on
Just
here.
cuss on
Forget the agenda, we're just gonna meet like this,
After
okay? Come if you want.
talking about all of this, open communication and open everything, let's see, we got some, freedom of information in it.
So we received 3 requests of the Freedom of Information Act during the period of May 17, 23 through June 15, 23. They are listed below, and Mr. Mitchell handled them all very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now, with that one, this being so, now we're gonna stop. Don't do
No,
executive
it seems like
session.
there's certain,
Because
There-
they're valued.
we hardly ever do that.
Yes, there are certain things that we cannot talk about in public, and that's what executive sessions. So, do we have a motion to?
Do we have to disclose like the nature of it? Is it like
We have to
security? Like
list-
we have to say like.
We have to
why
list
we're
that we're going to talk about school security under 2C8,
Okay.
and it, and also about, the setting the sale of real estate and district property under 2C5 and 6.
So, yeah, so,
So two
2C,
security.
5, 6, and 8.
yeah.
Yes,
Yep, that's
just
it.
security.
All right, I move to go into executive session for those reasons.
Second.
Roll call, and we need a roll call.
We need a roll call.
Okay, hold on. I moved that, sorry. Who seconded it?
Eric.
Eric. All right, sounds good. All right, Noble.
Aye.
Linneman. Vinnie, I. Curran.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Bradley. Stacy.
Aye.
You're in.
We are in executive session at
7:28.